Hey, Pat Welsh here. You know what that means? Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Take action, crush obstacles. Welcome back to the Warrior Servant Leader podcast, Taco Tuesday. It's going to be a good one. Our life changes when we listen, is the topic we're going to jump into. And being a good listener is probably one of the hardest things we have to learn to do. And I know it is for me. I struggle with it. I am a talker. I'm 100% Irish, born in Ireland. I have the gift of gab. If I can't dazzle you with brilliance, I'll baffle you with bullshit. Is kind of the the way I was brought up. I think it's genetic, and I struggle with being a good listener. I'm a trained litigator. I've been a lawyer since 1982. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a witness. I've been an expert witness, and my life revolves around talking. I'm an adjunct professor for the Southern Police Institute out of the University of Louisville, and travel all over the country training and speaking to people. And I'm a talker. Why do you think I have a podcast? I'm like a serial talker. I love talking, and I struggle with being a good listener. I remember I had a boss when I was on the police department, and we had a new police chief, and I had a lot of police chiefs in my career. I think total like 6 or 8 over 26 years, either chiefs or acting chiefs. So we had this constant turnover and turmoil until my last chief. He was there for my last 7, 8 years and was there after I retired. And I had a boss that had been a cop and retired and got back into law enforcement up in Ohio, but he came from North Carolina, and he was a good old Southern boy. And one of the things he shared with me was, Pat, you need to be a better listener. When we're going to staff meetings, you're the first one to pipe in on stuff. And he said, sit back and learn to listen so you can hear other people's inputs and thoughts, because you may learn and be informed by what they're saying. Don't be the first one to volunteer. And so we're at a staff meeting, and I'm sitting in the back. I'm running the narcotics bureau, and the new chief says, "Hey, the staff meeting was about an initiative, community initiative to reduce gun violence." So I'm sitting in the back. I'm keeping my my mouth shut, and he's sharing his vision and mission and where the department's going to go with this. And he's asking for input and feedback, and he's not getting very much. And he looks at me and he goes, Pat, what are your thoughts? And so I shared with him my thoughts, and he goes, great, see me after staff. And after staff, I got put in charge of this new initiative, and I ran it for 4 years. And the crazy thing is, life changed because I was a good listener. And it wasn't just my life that changed. Our mission was to reduce gang-related homicides in the city of Dayton. And over that 4 years of me being in charge of that program and leading other folks countywide, we reduced gang homicides by 64%. Lives changed. So that's what we're going to dive into today is your life changes when you listen. Before we jump into that, as I do every episode, a shout out to our great supporters at Law Enforcement Today, Blue Lives Matter, and Police Tribune. all dedicated to supporting law enforcement and first responders to be better warriors, servants, and leaders. A special shout out to their leader, Kyle Reyes, great guy, and has been so supportive of our efforts here at the Warrior Servant Leader podcast. Now, gonna jump in. If you haven't seen it, Google the nail in the forehead video. It's a lady, a young lady that's sitting on a couch. I don't know if it's her husband or boyfriend or whatever. And she is complaining about all this pressure that she has going on in her head. Well, she's got a nail sticking out of her forehead. And her boyfriend, husband, whatever, says, well, you got a nail in your head. And he's giving her a solution to what he perceives as her problem. And she's not asking for a solution. And she kind of jumps on him and going, see, you're always telling me what to do. You never listen to me. And she just is ranting, she's mad at him because she didn't ask for his advice. She wanted someone to be a good listener. And then the rest of the video is she continues talking, and he changes his approach and becomes a good listener. It's a really kind of funny video, but it has a very good point. Google that and watch it. Now, if you're an introvert, you are probably already pretty much a good listener because it's your nature to be quiet and to sit back. And sometimes you just want to tell somebody to STFU, shut the F up, because you are so sick and tired of them constantly talking. I get that. Do you ever take time to just sit quietly and to listen to what's going on around you? Not to come up with answers, not to come up with solutions, not to share your opinions, but to just sit and listen to what's going on around you. Do you ever take time to even pray and then take more time to listen for an answer to that prayer? Listening is difficult because we are so surrounded with so much commotion and so much chaos and just the fast pace of life. We get caught up in that, and we don't take time to just sit and listen. If you look at it from kind of a big perspective, go and look at Genesis in the book, first book of the Bible. And it starts off with, and God said, and things changed. God said, let there be light. God said, and life changed. And if you throughout Scripture, and not, it's not just Scripture, but if you look throughout Scripture, people's lives changed when they listened first, and they listened intentionally, and then their life changed. The story of Samuel, when as a small child, and he keeps waking up hearing a voice saying, Samuel, Samuel, and he listens and he runs to who he thinks is calling him. And he goes, no, it's not me. Go back and listen and then answer the call. Elijah, when he was on the mountain, he's told in a voice of clarity, God's going to be passing by. And so he goes out of this cave and he's standing there, and there's an earthquake and there's no God. There's strong winds, no God. fire, no God, and then a gentle whisper. And that is when he heard God, because that's what he was looking for. He was looking and listening because God was going to be passing by. Look at Mary. When the angel Gabriel comes and tells her that she's going to be the mother of the Son of God, she listens and her life changed. Every apostle was called by name. They listened and their life changed. Remember the servants at the wedding feast in Cana? They ran out of wine. And Mary comes to Jesus and says, hey, they're out of wine. He's like, what do you want me to do about it? And she turned to the servants and she told them, do whatever he tells you. And they listened. Jesus told them to fill jars with water. And they responded. They did what they were told. And everybody's life changed starting with that day. And it's not just scripture. Look at people throughout the history of the world. And I mean, even modern history. You look at St. Teresa of Calcutta, Mother Teresa, and study and read about her life and how she listened to God and how lives changed. Joan of Arc, great inventors, our founding fathers, they were all listeners first. How'd you learn as you were growing up? You listened to your parents, you listened to your teachers, and you learned new things. And your life changed. You learned to read, you learned to talk, but it all began with listening. What we all have in common is that if we listen, our lives will change. And not listen with the intent to respond. If you're on the debate team, in high school or college or whatever, you were listening with the intent to respond and actually get in an argument and try to win. That's not what active listening is about. Active listening is about learning first and then changing. And it may be a change within yourself. It may be to try and change others, change their opinion, change their behavior, change their goals in life. You do it with your kids. You want the best for them, and they think they know it all, especially when they turn 12 or 13 years old, and you get frustrated that they're not listening to you anymore. And then you get in the fights and the arguments and all that kind of stuff. And what has happened is you have lost the listening battle because you are not necessarily listening to what they're telling you. So don't listen with the intent to respond. But I'm not saying you can't respond, but be measured in how you do respond. Don't listen with the intent to win an argument. You can have debates, you can have differences of opinion, you can have spirited conversations, and I get that. But never forget that you have to listen and really hear and understand what the other person is saying. And it also means listening is looking and listening nonverbal communication. So I want to kind of wrap this up with the bigger picture here is when we learn to listen and we actively listen, lives are going to change. So here's my challenge to you. Literally get out a piece of paper and write down 3 ways you're going to be an active listener at work, at home, with your spouse or kids. If you go to church, and so I go to mass, whatever service you go to, how could you be a better active listener during that time that you are in a faith community setting? I actually, I bring this. I know you're only going to see this if you're watching this on YouTube, but I have my own little diary, if you will, that I take to church with me every Sunday. And when the priest is giving the sermon, I have my little diary and I have a pen and I am writing down notes. I'm listening and learning and writing down things that will make me a better person. And when we listen, our lives will change. So that's my challenge to you. How are you going to be a better active listener in the coming days? And then write down what you're learning as you have been a better listener and see where your life is changing. So that's today's episode. Take action, crush obstacles. Don't forget, next month, we're going to start having guests on the show. We're going to have retired Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Teagues, a friend of mine. I've known each other for a number of years. He was a 82nd Airborne. He was a Ranger. He was Special Operations Forces Green Beret, and rounded out and retired in his career with Delta Force. The dude is awesome. And then Monty Bynum is also going to be with us next month. Himself also a veteran, former DEA agent, been all over the world, been in some tough spots. And he's founder of Different Breed Training. And I'm telling you, these two guys will rock your world with how they have taken action and crushed obstacles in their personal and professional lives. So thanks for joining us today. Be sure and download this episode. Catch all our episodes on our website, the warriorservantleaderpodcast.com. That's the warriorservantleaderpodcast.com. You can connect with me through that. My calendar's on there. Jump on LinkedIn, Pat Welsh, JD. Join our newsletter community of Warrior Servant Leaders. And there's some special bonuses that being a subscriber to the newsletter gets you. And in fact, today, when this gets dropped in the newsletter, only newsletter folks are going to have a bonus. They don't even know what it is, but they're going to be, I think, very, very pleased because it's free. And normally I charge a lot of money for it. So there's 800 and some odd subscribers there now. Join us. Leave your comments and reviews on your favorite podcast platform where you're listening to this, and help us grow our community. So until next Taco Tuesday, remember, always strive to do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. Love you all, and see you next Taco Tuesday.